Hi, I'm Dave Cross here to tell you why flatten should be Photoshop's F word. You've probably heard people talk about working non-destructively in Photoshop, but what exactly does that mean? And more importantly, why should we bother? Why not just take the eraser and delete parts of a layer just right away? Well, working non-destructively gives you some real advantages, and the key one, of course, is flexibility. So, for example, instead of erasing part of a layer, if you use a layer mask, that way, should you need to tweak the results, you can always go back and play with the mask later on. If you're not familiar with it, a layer mask works like this. When you add a layer mask, it shows up, nothing has changed, it's just all in white. But if you grab your paintbrush, wherever you paint with black, you'll be hiding that part of the layer. Now, in contrast, the difference is when you just erase part of a layer, it's gone. Those pixels have been deleted. So part of the idea of working in this non-destructive manner, again, is being able to change your mind very easily. So examples of this would be adding adjustment layers as opposed to using adjustments directly from the menu. So when you add an adjustment layer, look closely, there's no OK button. You don't actually ever click OK, you just leave it and then do something else. So that means, for example, you could make an adjustment, change the blend mode, make another adjustment. Everything is flexible. You never have to commit to a final result. All it means is you're going to have two documents. One that's your PSD or Photoshop document with all those layers, and then a copy you're going to save as, which is your JPEG or TIFF, whatever else you need to give to your client. So that's really the main reason that people generally talk about for working non-destructively, but I think there's another really important reason, and that's because it's easier. It's easier to work this way because, A, changing your mind, but also you can be more efficient and more accurate. So here's an example of this. Let's say I have a photograph and I want to do some painting with light. I want to make a subtle change to a document, or I'm going to add some highlights here and there. Well, I would do that by adding an adjustment layer and then painting on the mask. But the challenge is, if the effect you're going for is subtle, it's kind of hard to see what you're doing if the mask, as you paint on the mask, the result is so hard to see. So why not take advantage of the non-destructive nature of an adjustment layer and do this? Over-adjust it. Go crazy. Make it look ridiculously light or dark or colorful, whatever you're trying to do. Paint on the mask. And then once you're happy with the results, lower the setting back to the more normal kind of setting you want. And you can apply that in Photoshop in a ton of different ways. So yes, working non-destructively gives us the option to change our mind, but just as importantly, it's also a great time saver. So I hope you'll consider working non-destructively as much as you possibly can in Photoshop.